terrible late. 11 points in the fourth. Offense completely discombobulated. Everything was going wrong. There is no doubt. You always have to say that first. But to tell me that the officiating had no or played no role in it would be absolutely, positively inaccurate. So I'm going to go back to a place I really love, and I really love hopping all over and ripping on NBA officiating, and especially the absolutely inadequate and inept Ed Malloy. I'm going to get back to that with you on the other side at 239-1070. Bottom of the hour, Marlon Mack of the Colts is going to join us. But on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline right now from CBS 4 and Fox 59, Mike Chappell joins us. I always find this funny, Mike, because at the end of the Pacer game last night, you had some people upset, but not really that angry because they all said, hey, you got to control what you can control. They were up 17, 11 points in the fourth. Even if you get an 8-second call that was bogus, and even if you get a non-foul call and Ed Malloy swallowed his whistle, you still controlled it yourself. And everybody kind of laugh it off. But, man, in the NFL, you get T.Y. Hilton getting mugged in the second quarter this past Sunday by a Cowboy defensive back, and all hell's breaking loose. I always find that incredibly hilarious, Mike. I do.
Well, I kind of compare the last two Pacer games with the Colts-Jacksonville game where they just played god-awful on offense. Remember, and then Eric Swope catches the ball at the end, and he's ruled inbounds when he was cleared out of bounds. And my argument was, well, not argument, but they didn't really deserve a break, so they didn't get one. But that's wrong because if the official if he screws up the play, it's still wrong. I mean, and those two plays into the Pacer games, I don't care how bad the Pacers.
Oh, they got screwed. They got screwed over, Mike. They were bad, but they got screwed over.
Right. So, in the fact that they played poorly to get there, shouldn't let the ref off the hook. So that's I hate in the NFL, which I'm more plugged into. I hate the inconsistency. The leading with the helmet penalties are ridiculous. Then again, T.Y. getting mugged on a couple of those, it's infuriating, but if you harp on it too much, then you sound like you're making excuses or sour grapes, but it is really, really infuriating that the inconsistency just drives you crazy.
So Mike Chappell joining us, too. And you could also make the argument, they played well until that point to be where they were. So, I mean, why do you even get the benefit of an obvious whistle there? So I get so many people saying, well, we got to be above, blaming it on the officials. And that'd be bull crap. I mean, who do these people think they are trying to tell us that?
I didn't see the initial one, the one against Cleveland until, later in the night when some people were showing the blatant shoving Vic out of the way. I just don't understand how you miss that. James Harden taking 7 steps for a step back. How do you miss it? There was one a couple of years ago where LeBron walking up the court took I swear to God, 4 or 5 steps, and then he started dribbling. I just don't understand, and that's where, whether it's baseball or any of the pro leagues, when you have these blatant misses or whatever you want to call it, and then they wonder how people have so little faith in the officiating. Well, that's why. So, and I don't know how you fix it, because you can make these guys, like in the NFL, you can make them full-time guys, and they still whiff on some of these. I don't know what the remedy is, other than just suck it up and accept it, because this is how it is.
Well, I mean, no, you have to. And see, this is where I come from. I suck it up and accept it because I love the NBA. I love watching the NBA. I thoroughly enjoy it. But if I see something that was wrong, and in this case blatantly wrong, just like I'm critical of 11 points in the fourth, blowing a 17-point lead, a couple of possessions by Vic late, or 2 missed free throws by Vic on Tuesday night against the Cavaliers, the way they played against Cleveland, just like, we rip that, and we do it in demonstrative fashion, just like that. We're going to do the same if stuff happens as it did late in that game in the final minute last night. I didn't understand why that's so hard for people to understand, right? I mean, it's not really an excuse. It's the truth.
Right, and again, my approach when the Jackson game, well, they didn't play very well. That you shouldn't put yourself in that position. Okay, but that shouldn't let the ref off the hook for blowing the call. So it's again, I realize it's a human element, but when it is so obvious, you want to shake your head and say, what am I missing? I don't see how it ever changes. You can't start reviewing fouls, no fouls at the end of games. The games are already long enough with all these reviews of possession and who touched it last. You can't go there. So, again, you simply have to accept the fact that whenever you're at the game, you're going to shake your head and say, what were they thinking? What did they see that I didn't see?
So, Mike Chappell, CBS 4 and Fox 59. All right. A little bit about the injury situation, how the Colts looking, rolling out of a Thursday and into a Friday. And, again, against the Giants team that looks like they're going to be without Odell Beckham Jr., that's obviously outside, clearly, the playoffs, and the Colts with a must-win situation still playing for something major here in the final two games.
Yeah, I know. I've learned the short time we've had Frank Reich, I've learned that the injury report doesn't mean a whole lot, especially in December. I don't think T.Y. practices this week. I think he plays Sunday. That's what it was last week. Maybe he's on there limited tomorrow. I don't know. So I think, and again, who else? I didn't have to listen for him. I don't think Clayton Gatter practiced today. I don't know who else there was. But Derek Ebron practiced. I think they're in pretty good shape. Injury-wise, Mike Mitchell, I would question whether he's going to be ready. Mark Glowinski, maybe he's ready. So health-wise, they're in pretty good shape, and that shouldn't be an issue on Sunday.
All right. What might be, in your opinion? And I guess we start with Saquon Barkley, although he was far from an issue last week. I mean, hell, basically in fantasy points, he got 5 points for putting his shoulder pads and helmet on. That was about it. He did nothing.
Isn't that like you get 200 points for signing your name for an SAT?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of when I said that, too, yes.
But the whole thing, but I think Barkley's a different animal than Zeke Elliott, because Barkley's a guy that if you're not careful, he'll work out. I was looking, he's got nine rushes this year of 28 yards or longer, 78, 68, 51. He's a guy that if you let him get going, he'll really burn you. And then last week, he's 14 for 31 against Tennessee. And you know, one thing, the further we go, and we're just about through this season, what it shows me is, outside of Jacksonville, the AFC South is pretty good, and the NFC East is awful. I think the NFC East is overrated this year. And I saw a note that over the last X number of weeks, the AFC South is 17-4, and 2 or 3 of the losses have been against each other. So I think it's a pretty good division. So as far as back to your question, as long as Barkley doesn't go off, because I don't think Beckham plays, but as long as Barkley doesn't go off at that 150, I just think this is another game. I don't see how the Giants with Eli score enough points to get anything done, because they just don't have enough, versatility on offense to get things done. And again, the Colts are playing pretty well right now. The defense is playing very well right now.
Completely agree. One of the reasons they're playing well is that of Darius Leonard. How egregious did you think that whole keeping him out of the fan vote and not making, he'll make it in there, I'm sure, as an alternate here. But it seemed to affect him a lot. And honestly, you were in there. I thought, to me, it sounded like it was a legitimate effect from him. And he thinks he's going to play at a higher level with that motivation. If I were going to give you the over-under of 20 tackles, is he going to get over 20? Is that the direction he's trying to go with this right now?
It's a ridiculous number, and I would still take the over. We're gonna see this guy flying to the ball. He's always been the self-motivator, being having to go to a small college, being only the 5th linebacker drafted, and this, that, and the other, and he's used that well. He was very clearly PO'd yesterday when he talked to the media. He was, because I asked him the question about, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, and before I could finish it, he said 20. He's down by 20. So, he'll get to the Pro Bowl. He'll make his an alternate, which isn't quite the same. My concern, and I hope I'm wrong, is that 2 rookie defensive players made Pro Bowl. Derwin James and Denzel Ward both made it. I'm hoping that not making Pro Bowl right away doesn't impact Leonard being Defensive Rookie of the Year, because I think he deserves it with his body of work. And I would hope people who really are paying attention, and I think the Defensive Player of the Year it's a media vote of broadcasters and sports writers who cover the league. I hope they've been paying attention, because this doesn't need to be a popularity contest. It's one where you simply look at the body of work and say, yeah. I mean, it's, the tackles and the tackles for loss and the sacks and the interception and the fumble recoveries. That's what you're supposed to do as a Rookie of the Year. And that's what he's done. I hope if he gets that, then everything else is secondary, because the Pro Bowl's got to be such a, meaningless to some degree with how it's handled. Defensive Rookie of the Year will be totally different. And if he gets that, then he can sit back and say, yeah, really, really good year.
So Mike Chappell, CBS 4 and Fox 59. He is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. As a defensive player, is he at an even higher level than Freeney was, the way that his rookie season wrapped up back in the early 2000s?
Boy, that's tough. What Freeney had was a rookie, like 12 sacks.
I think so, yeah.
And he really didn't start till midseason at Philly. I wouldn't go that far, because I still value sacks and getting it to the quarterback as your primary role more than even Leonard's all-around game, and his all-around game is top-notch. I'd still take 15 sacks over an all-around game, but outside of Freeney, I can't think of who has had more of an impact as a rookie. I really can't.
Yeah.
Bob Sanders didn't. Bob Sanders didn't at all. So, but I'd still take Freeney, just because I love pass rushers.
All right, so you think that the Colts went out here and get a little helper from the Ravens, Steelers, maybe both? Or I should say, helper in losing from the Ravens and the Steelers, and,
right,
and punch that ticket into the postseason.
I think they did. I think they'll get one of those games they need this week when the Ravens or Steelers lose, and then we're going to be in Nashville on the 30th at 8:00 at night, and it'll be the play-in game. And I'd rather be the Colts with Andrew Luck, who's won 10 straight against Tennessee, than Tennessee with Marcus Mariota, which you don't know what you're going to get. So, yeah, I didn't think they would get in, but now I think they will get in, because it's just set up for that to happen, and it would be well-deserved.
Yeah, it's been interesting, too. I mean, you go 1-5, it was doom and gloom, and then you reel off consecutive wins. You get to Jacksonville and disappoint everybody. Now you got everybody back on track to the point where, Mike, even national people right now think that if you're gauging teams that are playing the best at this time, the Colts would be up there among those.
And again, I said it once and I was wrong. It's, this isn't a team that teams don't want to play. That's really kind of wrong to put it. But this is a team, if it gets in, it won't be an easy out. It could do some damage in the playoffs because of the way they're playing. They got the defense going. Luck's playing high. So that's why I would like to see them get in, just to see whether they go to San Diego or Kansas City or New England. I would give these guys more than a puncher's chance on the road in the playoffs. I'd like to see how they would do it. I really would be interested to see how they would respond to that.
Well, I mean, when you look at the rest of the AFC right now, I mean, Kansas City not only has to deal with the whole shadow of always underperforming in the postseason.
Yep.
I mean, they're really already underperforming at the tail end of the regular season right now. I mean, New England, with their situations, losers of 2 consecutive. And
Josh Gordon.
I mean, Josh Gordon's news today. I see Josh Gordon just didn't have enough effect on that team, I don't think, in general. But certainly the news, I'm sure, kind of discombobulates a little bit, and especially, Mike, with a team that's lost 2 consecutive anyway, and that's not common ground for them late in the season.
Tom Brady looks like he's 50, and Gronkowski looks like he can't move. The team that's playing the best is probably San Diego. Here we go again. The Chargers. And do you trust them in the postseason? I don't know. So that's why I say I just like the way the Colts are playing, and I would really, really like to see them get in just to see what they could do, because I think they can make a nice little run just to catch people's attention. I really do.
Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 is going to have a holly jolly Christmas over in Beach Grove this year. Hey, by the way, speaking of the Grove, that Italian Villa restaurant's legit. I like that place.
Napoli Villa?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Napoli Villa.
That's right. That's right around the corner for me. And the wife was there for a dinner the other night. And it's a good, cool place. There's always tons of parking. So, it's always crowded. So it's a popular place. People come from all over the county to eat there. So, nice place.
I was in there last with my babysitter and their family. They live about a half block away, and they were having dinner, and I picked up my kids. They were all sitting in that window right there, and I picked up my kids there off of Main Street. But nah, man, that's a good place. That's a crown jewel right there that may maybe not be well known in Beach Grove.
It's a good place to come. They're trying to do a lot of good things on Main Street here, and that's one of them. That's really it draws people in. So if people are looking for a place to eat, come on down to the Grove.
There you go, Mike Chappell, CBS 4 and Fox 59. Have a great Christmas for you and the family, Mike. Thank you.
We'll see you.
That's Mike Chappell, CBS 4 and Fox 59. We're live at Coach's Tavern. We're downtown. Larceny Bourbon, Luna Azul Tequila bring us to you. There's a little party in the background, as you can probably hear. We got the ATI guys are going to show up here in a little bit. We're going to go over some injury situations. We're going to go over injury situations. That's hashtag ATIPT. Hashtag ATIPT for your questions.